My name is Amy. I carried a baby for my boss. This is my story. It is not an easy story to tell, but I must tell it. Maybe you will understand. My life was not easy. I lived in a small apartment in a big city. The city was always loud. Cars were loud. People were loud. But my apartment was quiet. It was too quiet. I was alone. I was 24 years old. I worked in a small coffee shop. I made coffee for people. I smiled at them. They did not know my life was hard. I had a lot of debt. My mother was sick. Her medicine was very expensive. My father worked hard, but his job was not enough. Every month, we needed more money. I sent most of my money home to my parents. I ate simple food. I wore old clothes. I did not go out with friends. I just worked. I worked and I worried. One day, a woman came into the coffee shop. She was beautiful. She wore expensive clothes. She looked important. Her name was Mrs. Alina Vance. She was my boss's friend. But soon, she became a regular customer. She came every morning. She always ordered the same thing: a black coffee. No sugar. No milk. She was always polite, but she looked sad. Her eyes were sad. She came to the coffee shop for many months. We started to talk, not about big things, just small things, the weather, the news. She was nice to me. She always left a big tip. It helped a lot. One Tuesday, she came in. She looked different. She was not sad. She was nervous. She waited until the coffee shop was empty. Then she came to the counter. She did not order coffee. She looked at me. Her hands were shaking a little. "Amy," she said, "I want to ask you something. It is a big thing." My heart started to beat fast. What did she want? Did I do something wrong? "I have a proposal for you," she said. Her voice was soft. "My husband and I, we cannot have children. We have tried for many years. It is our biggest sadness." I did not know what to say. I just listened. "We want a baby very much," she continued. "We are looking for a surrogate mother, a woman to carry our baby for us." I was shocked. A surrogate mother. I had heard about that, but it was something from movies. It was not real life, not my life. "We will pay very well," she said. She named a number. The number was huge. It was more money than I had ever seen. It was enough to pay for my mother's medicine for years. It was enough to pay off all our debt. It was enough to change our lives completely. My mind was spinning. So much money. It felt like a dream. "I know this is a lot to ask," she said. "You are young. You are healthy. Our doctor recommended you. He is also your doctor." I remembered my yearly checkups. She had done her research. She gave me a card with a lawyer's name on it. "Think about it," she said. "Please, talk to this lawyer. We will pay for it. There is no pressure." Then she left the coffee shop. The small bell on the door jingled. The shop was quiet again. I stood there for a long time. I held the card in my hand. Could I do this? Could I carry a baby for someone else? A baby that was not mine. It felt strange. My body would change. I would have a baby inside me. But after the baby was born, I would have to give it away. It felt cold. It felt like a job, a 9-month job. But the payment was a new life for my family. I thought about my mother. I imagined her face without worry. I thought about my father. I imagined him resting, not working 2 jobs. This money could give them peace. I decided to see the lawyer. I needed to understand everything. The lawyer was a kind woman. She explained the contract. It was very long. It had many rules. I had to eat special food. I could not drink alcohol or coffee. I had to go to the doctor many times. I had to live a quiet life. And at the end, I had to give the baby to Mr. and Mrs. Vance. The contract was very clear. The baby was their child, not mine. I would have no rights. I would just be the carrier, the surrogate. It sounded so simple on paper. It sounded like a business deal, my body for their money. I tried to think of it that way. I told myself I could do it. I was strong. I could keep my feelings out of it. It was for my family. So I said yes. I signed the papers. My hand was shaking when I signed my name. Amy. Just a simple name on a very important paper. That day, my life changed forever. I did not know how much it would change. I thought it was about money. I was wrong. It was about something much, much bigger. The process started quickly. I went to a special clinic with Mrs. Vance. Mr. Vance was there too. He was a tall, serious man. He did not talk much. He just nodded and smiled a little. He seemed less comfortable than his wife. Mrs. Vance, Alina, she held my hand sometimes. She said, "We are in this together, Amy." I had to get injections. Every day. The needles were small, but I was scared of them. A nurse showed me how to do it. The first time I cried, it felt so unnatural. I was changing my body for a baby that was not mine. Alina was there. She held my other hand. "You are so brave, Amy," she said. I did not feel brave. I felt like a child. After a few weeks, the doctors did a procedure. It was not painful, just strange. They put the embryo inside me. It was their baby, their genetic child, but it was in my body. Then we had to wait 2 weeks. It was the longest 2 weeks of my life. I tried not to think about it. I went to work. I made coffee. I smiled at customers. But my mind was always somewhere else. Was I pregnant? Did it work? Alina called me every day. "How are you feeling, Amy?" she would ask. Her voice was full of hope. It made me feel so much pressure. What if it did not work? I would disappoint them. I would not get the money. My family would still be in debt. Finally, the day came. I went to the clinic for a blood test. Alina waited with me. We sat in silence. We were both too nervous to talk. The doctor called us into his office. He was smiling. "Congratulations," he said. "You are pregnant." Alina burst into tears. She hugged me so tight. She was so happy. I felt a wave of relief. It worked. I was pregnant. I was going to get the money. My family was going to be okay. But under the relief, there was another feeling. A small, strange feeling. I was pregnant. There was a life starting inside me. A tiny, tiny life. I did not know what to feel about that. I just smiled and let Alina hug me. I told myself this was her moment of joy, not mine. The first few months were hard. I was sick every morning. They call it morning sickness. But for me, it was all-day sickness. I was so tired. I could not work at the coffee shop anymore. The contract said I had to quit my job. The Vances gave me money every month to live on. It was enough to pay my rent and buy food. I stayed in my small apartment all day. It was very lonely. I used to be busy all the time. Now, there was just silence and the feeling of being sick. Alina visited me often. She brought me special crackers and ginger tea. She was very kind. She took care of me. She would sit and talk for hours. She talked about the baby. She called the baby our little miracle. She talked about the nursery they were building. It had yellow walls and pictures of animals. She talked about the clothes they were buying. Tiny socks and soft blankets. I listened and nodded. I tried to be happy for her, but it felt strange. She was talking about a baby that was inside me, a baby I could feel making me sick. But it was her baby, not mine. It was like I was just a house for the baby, a temporary home. One afternoon, I was lying on my sofa. I was about 4 months pregnant. I felt a little flutter inside me. It was so soft, like a butterfly's wings. I held my breath. Was that the baby? It happened again. A tiny kick. I put my hand on my belly. I waited. And then I felt it again. A clear, definite kick against my hand. My heart stopped. And then it started beating very fast. It was real. There was a person in there. A tiny person with tiny feet. A person who was moving. I started to cry. But these were not sad tears. I don't know what they were. It was just a feeling. A powerful feeling. For the first time, it was not about the money. It was not about the contract. It was not about the Vances. It was about me and the little life inside me. That kick changed everything. After that first kick, things were different. The baby started to move a lot. I would lie in bed at night and feel the kicks and turns. It was like a secret conversation, just between me and the baby. I started talking to the baby. I know it sounds silly, but I did. I would whisper to my belly. "Hello in there," I would say. "Are you having a good day?" I told the baby about my day. I told the baby about the world outside. I described the color of the sky. I described the sounds of the city. I even started to sing to the baby. I sang simple songs that my mother used to sing to me. I had a terrible voice, but I didn't care. It was our secret. Alina wanted to be part of it. She would come over and put her hand on my belly. She wanted to feel the kicks. Oh, I felt that. she would say, her face full of joy. It was hard for me. When her hand was on my belly, the baby would often stop moving. As if the baby knew. As if the baby was shy. It felt like she was intruding on our private world. I would smile and say, "The baby is just being shy." But inside, I felt a strange sense of protection. I wanted to keep these moments for myself. One day, we went for an ultrasound. It was at a big hospital. Mr. and Mrs. Vance were there. I was lying on the bed. The room was dark. The doctor put a cold gel on my belly. Then, he moved a small wand over my skin. An image appeared on the screen. A black and white image. It was the baby. I could see a tiny head, a small body, little arms and legs. I could see the baby's heart beating. A fast, strong flicker of light. My own heart felt like it was going to burst. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. This was the little person who was kicking inside me. This was the person I was singing to. The doctor said, "Everything looks perfect. A very healthy baby." Alina was crying softly next to me. She was holding her husband's hand. "It's our baby," she whispered. "Our baby." The doctor asked, "Do you want to know the gender?" Alina and her husband looked at each other. They nodded. "Yes, please," she said. The doctor looked closely at the screen. He smiled. "It's a girl," he announced. "A girl. A little girl." I had a daughter growing inside me. The word daughter echoed in my mind. Of course, she was not my daughter. The contract was clear. She was their daughter. But in that moment, in that dark room, looking at that tiny heart beating on the screen, she felt like mine. After that day, my secret connection with her grew stronger. I gave her a secret name. I called her Lily. It was a simple, beautiful name. A name I whispered only when I was alone. I started to buy things for her. Just small things. I didn't have much money, but I bought a small, soft teddy bear. I kept it hidden in my closet. I bought a little book with pictures of animals. I would read it to my belly every night. "This is a lion, Lily," I would whisper. "It goes roar." I knew it was crazy. I knew I was breaking the rules in my heart. The number one rule was, do not get attached. But it was too late. I was attached. I was more than attached. I was falling in love with this little girl. The more I loved her, the more I felt sad. I would look at the nursery catalogs Alina left for me. They were full of beautiful cribs and expensive toys. I knew Lily would have a wonderful life. She would have everything. Loving parents. A beautiful home. Everything I could not give her. I told myself this was why I was doing this. I was giving her the best life possible. A better life than I could ever provide. This thought was my comfort. But it was a cold comfort. It did not stop the ache in my heart. Sometimes the fear was so big. It felt like a dark cloud. Soon she would be born. And then she would be gone. I would have to give her away. How could I do that? How could I hold my baby and then just let her go? I cried a lot. I cried in the shower, so no one could hear me. I cried into my pillow at night. I was so confused. My mind told me one thing: this is a job. You are helping a family. You are doing a good thing. But my heart told me another thing. She is yours. She is a part of you. You cannot let her go. I felt so alone with this secret. I couldn't talk to Alina. She was too happy, too excited. I couldn't talk to my parents. They would not understand. They just knew I had a new, well-paying job. They didn't know the details. So I kept it all inside. Me and Lily. We were in our own little world, a world that was about to end. The months passed. My belly grew bigger and bigger. It was hard to walk. It was hard to sleep. I felt heavy and tired all the time, but I did not care. Every kick, every movement from Lily reminded me that she was there. She was real, and she was coming soon. Alina was planning a baby shower. She invited me. She said I was the guest of honor. I did not want to go. A party to celebrate a baby I had to give away. It felt like a nightmare, but I had to go. The contract said I had to participate in family events. The party was at her big, beautiful house. The house was full of people. They were all rich and well-dressed. They all smiled at me and looked at my belly. "You look wonderful," they said. "You are doing such an amazing thing for Alina." I felt like an exhibit at a museum. The amazing pregnant lady. There were so many presents. Piles of them. Tiny dresses. Expensive toys. A beautiful white crib was in the corner of the room. It was for Lily, her bed, in her new home. Alina opened each gift with a happy cry. She held up a tiny pink dress. "Oh, it's beautiful," she said. "Our daughter will look so lovely in this." Our daughter. The words stabbed me in the heart. I had to go to the bathroom. I locked the door and looked at myself in the big mirror. I was huge. I put my hands on my belly. I could feel Lily moving. She was always active when I was upset. It was like she knew. "I can't do this, Lily," I whispered to my reflection. Tears streamed down my face. "I'm so sorry. I can't give you up." But what could I do? The contract was signed. The law was on their side. I was trapped. I had made a deal. And now I had to pay the price. The price was my heart. The price was my daughter. I stayed in that bathroom for a long time. I washed my face with cold water. I took a deep breath. I put on a fake smile. Then I went back to the party. I watched them celebrate the baby that I loved more than my own life. It was the hardest thing I had ever done. The last month of the pregnancy was the hardest. My body ached. I could not find a comfortable position to sit or sleep. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the pain in my heart. Every day was one day closer to saying goodbye. I spent my days preparing. But I was not preparing a nursery. I was preparing my heart to break. I tried to make myself cold. I tried to tell myself that Lily was not mine. I would look at pictures of the Vances. They were a nice couple. They would be good parents. I repeated this to myself over and over. They will be good parents. Lily will have a good life. It did not help. Alina called every day. Her voice was full of excitement. Any day now, Amy. Are you ready? No, I was not ready. I would never be ready. One night, I woke up with a sharp pain in my back. It came and went. At first, I thought it was just the usual discomfort. But the pain got stronger, and it started to come more often. This was it. The time had come. My hands were shaking as I called Alina. It's happening, I said. My voice was small. She was calm. Okay, Amy. We're on our way. The hospital bag is by the door. Just breathe. We will be there in 10 minutes. The Vances took me to the hospital. The hospital was big and clean and scary. The nurses were kind. They put me in a room. They attached monitors to my belly. I could hear the sound of Lily's heartbeat. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. A fast, strong sound. It was the sound of my whole world. The pain was intense. It was a wave that crashed over me again and again. Alina was with me. She held my hand. She wiped my face with a cool cloth. You're doing so well, Amy, she said. You're so strong. I was not strong. I was breaking. With every wave of pain, I felt my heart breaking a little more. Because I knew this pain was bringing me closer to the moment. I had to let her go. The hours passed. The pain got worse. The doctor came in. It's time, he said. It's time to push. Mr. and Mrs. Vance were both in the room. They stood near the doctor, waiting for their baby. I pushed with all my strength. I screamed. It was the hardest work of my life. And then, after what felt like forever, the doctor said, I can see the head. One more big push. I gave it everything I had. And then, there was a sudden release. A cry filled the room. A tiny, loud, beautiful cry. She was here. Lily was here. The nurse said, Here's your beautiful baby girl. Everything happened so fast. The nurse cleaned her and wrapped her in a soft, warm blanket. She was about to hand the baby to Alina. Alina's arms were outstretched, her face a perfect picture of joy and tears. But I found my voice. It came from deep inside me. Wait, I said. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at me. Please, I whispered. Can I hold her first? Just for a minute. The nurse looked at Alina. Alina hesitated for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. Of course, she said softly. The nurse placed the small bundle in my arms. She was so light, so perfect. I looked down at her face. She had a tiny nose and rosebud lips. She had a little bit of dark hair. She opened her eyes. Her eyes were a deep, dark blue. She looked right at me. And in that moment, the whole world disappeared. There was no hospital room. There were no doctors or nurses. There was no contract. There was no money. There were no Vances. There was only this little girl. My Lily. A love so powerful, so fierce, washed over me. It was a love I had never known. It filled every part of me. It healed all the pain. I knew, with a certainty that was as strong as the earth, that I could not live without her. This was not a business transaction. This was my daughter. I held her close to my chest. I smelled her sweet baby smell. I kissed her soft forehead. Tears streamed down my face and fell onto the blanket. "I love you," I whispered to her. "I love you so much." I looked up. Alina was watching me. The joy on her face had been replaced by something else. Worry, understanding, fear. She saw the look in my eyes. She knew. She took a step closer. "Amy," she said, her voice trembling. I clutched my baby tighter. I looked at Alina. My voice was shaking, but it was clear. "I can't," I said. The words hung in the air. "I'm so sorry, Alina. But I can't give her up, I can't." The silence in the room was deafening. Mr. Vance looked angry. He took a step forward. "What are you talking about? We have a contract." Alina put a hand on his arm. She did not take her eyes off me. She saw the way I was holding Lily. She saw the way Lily had calmed down in my arms. Her little head nestled against my heart. "Alina, please," I begged. My voice was breaking. I didn't know it would be like this. I thought I could do it. I thought it was just a job. But she's a part of me. She's my daughter. Please don't take my daughter away from me." I was sobbing now. I was a complete mess, but I did not care. I just held on to my baby. Alina's own eyes filled with tears. She was a woman who had wanted a baby more than anything in the world. And here she was, watching another woman become a mother. Right in front of her. She looked at Lily, sleeping peacefully in my arms. She looked at me, my face broken with love and fear. She looked at her husband, his face like thunder. For a long time, nobody spoke. The only sound was the beeping of the hospital machines and my quiet sobs. Then Alina spoke. Her voice was just a whisper. "I see," she said. "I see." She walked over to the bed. She did not try to take the baby. She just looked at her. She gently touched Lily's tiny hand with one finger. Lily's fingers curled around hers. A tear rolled down Alina's cheek. "She's beautiful," she whispered. I did not know what would happen next. I was ready for a fight. I was ready for lawyers and courts. I did not care. I would fight for my daughter with my last breath. But Alina surprised me. She turned to her husband. "David," she said, "we need to talk outside." He looked like he wanted to argue. But he saw the look on her face and just nodded. They left the room. A nurse came and helped me. She did not say anything about what happened. She just helped me get comfortable. She showed me how to feed Lily. Holding my daughter and feeding her for the first time was a miracle. It felt like the most natural thing in the world. My heart was full of love, but also full of fear. What would they decide? After a long time, Alina came back into the room. She was alone. Her eyes were red from crying. She sat in the chair next to my bed. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I have wanted a baby my whole life, Amy. It was a dream that hurt me every single day. When we found you, it felt like our dream was finally coming true." I listened, holding my breath. "But a dream shouldn't be a nightmare for someone else," she continued. "I saw your face when you held her. That was a mother's face. It is a look I have always wanted to have. You already have it." She took a shaky breath. "It is the hardest thing I will ever do. But we will not enforce the contract. She is your daughter. A child belongs with her mother." I could not believe what I was hearing. The relief was so great, I felt weak. "Eleanor," I started to say, but I couldn't find the words. I just cried. "Don't cry," she said, with a small, sad smile. "You need to be strong for her now." She stood up. "The money, we will still give it to you. All of it. Consider it a gift for Lily. So you can give her a good start in life. So you won't have to worry." This was too much. Her generosity, her understanding. "Thank you," I whispered. It was not enough. The words were too small for the gift she was giving me. She was giving me my daughter. She was giving me my life. She walked to the door. She stopped and looked back one last time. "Her name is Lily?" she asked. I was surprised. How did she know? Then I remembered. I must have said it out loud. I nodded. "Yes, her name is Lily." "It's a beautiful name," she said. Then she was gone. And so I became a mother. It was not the way I planned. My life was turned upside down. But it was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. I left the hospital with my baby girl, my Lily. I went back to my small, quiet apartment. But it was not quiet anymore. It was filled with the small sounds of a baby. It was filled with love. The money from the Vances changed everything for my family. My mother got the best medicine. My father retired. They were so happy. When I told them the whole story, they were shocked. But when they met Lily, they understood. They fell in love with her, just like I did. Life is not always easy. Being a single mother is hard work. There are days when I am so tired. There are days when I am scared. But then I look at Lily's face. I see her smile. I hear her laugh. And I know I made the right choice. I carried a baby for my boss because I needed money. But I found something so much more valuable. I found a love that is bigger than any contract, bigger than any amount of money. I found my daughter. I found myself. Sometimes life gives you a choice, a hard choice. Your head tells you one thing, your heart tells you another. My story is about listening to your heart. It can be scary, but it can also lead you to the most beautiful journey of your life. If you have a hard choice to make, be brave. You can do it. Listen to that quiet voice inside you. It knows the way. My name is Amy, and this is my story. And it is a love story. The story of a mother and a daughter. My beautiful Lily.